In this video, we are going to be going through the details of module number 4. So I'm working on project B, or project 2, in module number 4, and you'll be working through the other project, but this gives you most of the details that you'll need to know. So looking at this first, we have two sheets, looks like two sheets in this workbook. And if we go over to step number 1, Hannah would like to purchase a clinic suite in a medical office condo where she's been working as a physical therapist for the past 12 years, speaking to the loan officers who will analyze the monthly cost of mortgage rates and view the overall impact. So step number 1, switch to the clinic mortgage worksheet. So we have some information here. We have some information about the details of the mortgage, and it looks like a half-built amortization schedule. So the first part, it's asking us in D5, create a formula using the PMT function to determine the monthly payments for the anticipated mortgage. If you want a refresher on the PMT function, please look at the other video where we break it down a little bit more. In this one, we're just going to work through it pretty quickly. So I'm going to say equals PMT, and that's the payment for the loan based on consistent payments and a constant interest rate. So PMT, rate, term years, and loan amount. So this will actually give us a negative value because a loan is a negative value. We want to see this displayed as a positive value. So if we put a negative sign in front of it, that will flip it to a positive. So that's part A. Put a negative sign before the PMT function to make the formula return a positive value. In the function, the next thing we're going to do is rate. So we're going to use this rate, but this is the annual rate, and this loan is being paid monthly. Since there are 12 months in a year, we're just going to divide that annual rate by 12. Then I can refer to the term in years. So that's this one right here, the term in years, 15 years. So right now that's giving me a value of 15. But there are more than 15 payments. This is monthly, remember, so there are 12 months for each year, so the number of payments is actually going to be 12 times 15, 12 times the number of years. Then moving to the third part of this, the present value, that is the value of the loan amount. So let's make sure we have everything here. In the function, rate should be divided by 12. Term and year should be multiplied by 12, and we're using loan amount as the rate. The future value and type we don't have to worry about. Those are optional, and we don't want to factor them in this case. So I'll close that bracket and press enter, and now I have a value of $2,411.63. So that means that for this mortgage, this 15-year mortgage at a rate of 5.25%, for a loan amount of $300,000, that means each month payment of $2,411.63 is due. Okay, so we finished off number 1. Up next, number 2, Hannah calculated the anticipated cost of the clinic using the mortgage interest rate she expects to qualify for. She wants to determine how different rates could impact the total cost. Select A12 to A26 and fill it with percent values. So in this kind of block here, what we're trying to do is looking at a bunch of different rates, so different annual interest rates, and seeing how that would change the actual payments over time. An easy way to do this is just click and drag to fill the different rows. So initially we had 3% and 3.25%. So if we just continue those 0.25% increments all the way down, then we can get up to 6.5%. So I've done this. Analyze, yes, so we finished off number 2. Next, we're going to create a single variable data table to determine the impact that the variable interest rates will have on the cost of the clinic. So we want to see the different results based on these different rates. Rather than doing this over and over and over again, so we've calculated the rate at 5.25%, we want to see the results of all of these different rates without having to do all of this work over again. And we can do that by creating a data table. And to start that, we're just going to, in this monthly payment, reference this right here. So the monthly payment is going to remain constant. Well, in this case, sorry, we're just going to copy the value of the monthly payment. Then the total interest is going to be this value here, and the total cost is going to be this value. So across the top we have nothing in A11. B11 we have referring to this cell here. C11 we have referring to this cell here, and D11 referring to this cell here. So we have done all that. Now part D, select A11 to D26, and we're going to use a data table to calculate the rest of this. So we can just go up to formulas, data, and then what if analysis, data table, and the input cell is actually going to be this rate up here in D3. Click OK, and now it gives us the rest of the information based on these different rates. So you can see that the total cost of the mortgage when the rate is 3% is $447,914, but if the rate was 6.5%, the value or the total cost would be $545,397. So a difference of almost $100,000 on this loan. So we can finish off number 3. Number 4, to help Hannah identify how each rate compares to the interest rate on her mortgage, she wants to add a conditional formatting rule. So here we're just trying to highlight which one of these rates matches this scenario up here. And we've done conditional formatting before in the Home tab. In this case, we're just going to highlight cell that's equal to not a number, but whatever value is in this cell. And it asks us to do that with yellow. And we've finished off number 4. Moving on to number 5, Hannah wishes to finalize the amortization schedule. So this amortization schedule has been started, but we haven't finished it yet. So starting off in J4, create a formula without using a function that subtracts I4 from H4. So in J4, we want to do H4 minus I4. Okay, so we have that, and then copy the formula all the way down. And we can finish off number 5. Number 6, this one gets a little bit more complicated. In K4, we're going to create a formula. So in K4, create a formula using an if function that calculates the interest paid on the mortgage or the difference between the total payments made each year and the total amount of the mortgage principal paid each year. So the first part, we're going to check if the value in H4 is greater than 0. So equals, we're going to create an if statement. If H4 is greater than 0, then, so if it is greater than 0, we should return J4 subtracted from D5 times 12. So D5 times 12, and we should actually make this an absolute reference because we're going to copy this all the way down. We want to keep that monthly payment the same. So we have D5 times 12 minus J4. And we don't want to lock that cell. We want to keep that just like it is there. And then the value, if false, is going to be 0. So if the balance of the loan is less than 0, we've already overpaid, then you don't want to keep paying. Then we can copy this down from K5 to K18. There we go, and finish off number 6. Number 7, apply the accounting number format with 2 decimal places to K4 to K18. Counting 2 decimal places, that looks good. In K20, create a formula without using a function that references down payment. So I could reference the cell coordinates, but because we have names on some of those cells, I can just start typing down payment, and now it references the down payment cell. Number 9, Hannah decides to add custom cell borders to the amortization schedule to make it easier to read. So we want to apply custom cell borders, blue accent 5, darker 50, as described below. So from G3 to K21, G3 to K21, I'm going to go right click, format cells, border, and I'm going to add blue accent 5, darker 50 for the color, blue accent 5, blue accent 5, darker 50. There we go. And that is the 9th column, 6th row. There we go. Okay. And add an outline border with medium border. So outline with medium border, 2nd column, 5th row, column 1, column 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that would be outlined. That's a little bit thicker now. Okay, so I can click OK there, and I've added that border. Then G3 to K21, I'm going to go back here and add a vertical line border with a light border style. 1st column, 7th row, 1st column, 7th row, vertical line border. So I'll add that little one in the middle there. And then click OK, and I can see that I've added those vertical lines. Next, add a top border, G4 to K4, G4 to K4, right click, format cells, border, top border with a light border style. So I can add that top line there. And then a bottom border, G18 to K18. Oops. G18 to K18, right click, border, and that's a light border style, bottom, so I've added that bottom edge, and then we have that. Okay, so I can finish this one off. Number 10, to make various elements of the Clinic Mortgage worksheet easier to select and print, Hannah wants to add custom names to the ranges in the worksheet. So range A2 to D7, A2, D7, apply a custom name. So from data, formulas, define name, and we're going to call this mortgage payment. And now you can see if I highlight that range, it's named mortgage payment. Apply the custom name interest rate schedule to A9 to D26, A9, D26, interest rate schedule, and then from G2 to K21, we'll call this amortization schedule. Good. And we can close off or finish off number 10. Next, in number 11, assign names to the cells in the range D5 to D7. So we want to name these cells. Right now, we just have the regular references, D6, D7, etc. But we want to add names to those cells by using the values in the left column. So this one should be called rate, this one should be called term, etc. as we go down. So I'm going to highlight C and D, and then create from selection, left column, and now we have those cells named. On to step 12. Hannah wishes to protect the sheet so she doesn't make any accidental changes to values. Wants to be able to update some values in the protected worksheet. Select and unlock B5 and B6. B5 and 6. So I'll right click those, format, protection, and I'll uncheck the locked box. And the same with D3. Right click, protection, locked. Protect the clinic mortgage worksheet without a password. You can go to review at the top and protect sheet. And I don't want locked cells to be edited. Click OK without a password. And now you can see if I click anywhere, can't click, I can't highlight, I can only click on those 3 cells. Oops. So that's number 12. Number 13, Hannah had previously hidden a worksheet containing data on her financial obligations, wants to review that data. So I'm going to unhide that sheet. So I can just right click anywhere down here and click unhide. And that's the one that I want to unhide. And then I can move over to that sheet. In B9, create a formula without using a function that determines the total interest with the loan. So with these instructions, it wants us to multiply B7 times B8. So B7 is the length of time in years, and B8 is the monthly payment by 12. So we're going to have to, because this is in years, but the monthly payment obviously is once per month, so we'll multiply that by 12 and then by 5 to get the total value. So we're going to do B7 times B8 times 12. So that gives us the total amount that this person has paid. Then subtract B5. So we have B7 times B8 times 12, and we're going to subtract the loan amount. So we're going to subtract B5, and that gives us the total interest. So $2,785.94 in interest. Copy the formula from C9 to E9. Copy that over, and we have 14 finished off. Moving on to number 15, Hannah would like to be able to see the remaining balance of her loans at the end of the current year. In B12, create a formula using the PV function. So we'll use PV, and in the rate, we are going to use B6 divided by 12. So what we're trying to figure out here is at the end of this year, what will the value of all of these loans be? So in A, B6 divided by 12, because remember the rate is an annual rate, but everything else is being paid monthly, so we need to find what that rate is monthly. Then the number of periods, we're going to subtract B11 from B7 multiplied by 12. What we're saying here is there's 4 years. We're in year number 4 of the loan, and the term is 5 years long. So there should be 1 year left and 12 months in 1 year. So we should get a value of 12 eventually. And to get to that value, we're just going to say B7 minus B11, subtract B11 from B7. So yes, B7 minus B11 times 12. So we need to put brackets around this, otherwise we will get the wrong answer. And then the payment is B8, the monthly payment. But we need to put a negative sign in front of that because we want to see this as a positive value. So at the end of the year, the loan balance will be $4,430.08. And then if we copy that across, we'll have these values. And that finishes off number 15. So we've gone through quite a bit of information, looked at a lot of different functions and ways of organizing the sheet, and now we are done.